The first Europeans to reach the Buchan area came south from the Monaro Plains in New South Wales in search of grazing land. Aboriginal people guided these explorers. Squatters and their settlers continued to arrive through the 1840s, but Buchan was still very remote. Gold rushes in Victoria discovered gold, silver, lead and other minerals were later mined in the Buchan area, and limestone and marble was extensively quarried. Victorian Railway Guide mentions caves tours in the Buchan area. Local people lit up the caves using torches of bark soaked in kerosene. Land in the area was set aside for a stock camp. In 1889, a survey by government geologist James Stirling revealed some of the Buchan caves. Stirling argued that the caves should be developed and managed for the public, but no action was taken. James Harvey, an eminent amateur photographer, took the first known photos of the Buchan caves. In 1890, government reserved some land around the caves following vandalism. Local residents who were keen to possess a tourist attraction to rival Jenolan Caves in New South Wales and create a new wealth for tourism following the 1890s depression. The urging of geologist A.E. Kitson caused the government to proclaim reserves around the important cave areas. In 1906, Frank Moon was appointed by the Lands and Survey Department to search for more caves. In 1907, Frank Moon discovered Fairy Caves, putting Buchan on the map. Frederick J. Wilson from the Jenolan Caves in New South Wales was appointed to supervise the development of the Fairy Cave. In 1910, Wilson, accompanied by Moon and Constable Brown, pushed through the rock fall beyond Blackwood Chamber at the south end of Fairy Cave to discover the Royal Cave. In 1913, creation of an artificial entrance allowed Royal Cave to be open to the public. 1921, Frederick Wilson was also guided and building pathways but retired at the age of 80. In 1928, an exit tunnel was built at the south end of the Royal Caves, making through trips possible the following year. In 1938, Minister of Lands and local member A.E. Lind gave Buchan Caves the status of a national park. Entrance arch, swimming pool, kitchen, tennis courts, toilet blocks and paths were all built.